Today, let's talk about the hidden risks of data-driven decision making. Well, in the past few years, we have seen a huge proliferation of data. With this huge amount of data being available, the expectation that every business has is to drive decisions based on data. And this expectation has peaked as well. However, in my experience, just using data to make decisions is a trap and can lead to some really bad decisions. Let's look at why just using data for decision making can potentially lead to bad decisions. Reason number one, the availability bias. The first trap is to think that the data that we have is all the data that there is. Most of the times, the data we have is the one that's easy to collect, store, and make sense of, usually. It's not necessarily the most important data or the most relevant data. It's the most easiest to collect, store, and make sense of. Also, having a big trove of data gives us the illusion of us knowing all there is to know. So every time we are about to make a decision based on the data that we have, um, we are better off asking if the data that we have is the most relevant, is most reliable, and does it also include the context in which it was generated? Is there any other qualitative data point that we need to go look for? This ability to question whether the data that we have is all that is needed or is there something else that is available, um, whether it is easy to collect or not, is something which is very, very important. Reason number two, being stuck in the past. So data is usually about what happened in the past. When looked at holistically, it paints a good picture of the past, which is, what happened. It's usually really bad at telling us why it happened the way it happened. To understand this why, we need to not only understand the context within which the data was generated, but also to be able to exercise empathy and some sort of imagination as to what happened and why it happened and what could have led to the data being generated. Understanding the combination of what happened and why it happened can generate interesting insights and ideas. These can then transform and inform our decisions that could potentially influence the behavior in our favor. So if we really want to look at data, uh, we need to uh, add intelligence that comes from data and intelligence that comes from human and mix and match them so that we understand not only the data, but the context in which the data was produced as well. Reason number three, data can be used as one source of information and not as the only source of information. We need to remember that the data is one of the many inputs we take into consideration when making a decision. The more important the decision is, the more we need to move away from just using data to make the decision. Human judgment and an expert's intuition are as important, if not more, than any amount of data that we have that we analyze. Human imagination, ingenuity, and creativity needs to be a part of the decision mix if we really want to have an outsized impact with our decisions. Reason number four, averages. So most data points are comprehended or understood as averages of some sort. And averages have this tendency to hide any and all extremes. All extreme data points have interesting stories behind them. They have the potential insights that can help us not only understand what's happening at the extremes, but also help us create the outsized impact that we want to create using our decisions. All extreme cases are valuable, even if they don't teach us anything new. The very of observing them keeps us from getting caught up in averages and thinking that the average is all there is. So, in conclusion, I think we are better off making decisions being informed by data, among other things, rather than being driven by data. Data can be a part of what we consider, when we make our decisions. Maybe an important part as well. But if we require data to back up all our decisions, we may never end up with a creative or an innovative decision. Sometimes decisions purely backed up by data alone uh, end up creating significant risk and blind spots. And decisions which are made based on intuition and human judgment and imagination and ingenuity and creativity, which do not have enough data to back them up, could potentially be um, path-breaking and can end up having outsized impact for us and for our business. So don't be data-driven, be data-informed. Thank you. Have a great day ahead.